What's going on, everybody? It's FREEDO here for your Overwatch. Halloween Terror just went live today, and with it, some horrifying buffs and nerfs. This first one was a big surprise and wasn't listed on the PTR previously. Doomfist's hand cannon damage fall off now starts at 15 meters. The devs say Doomfist is all about getting up close and personal with his enemies, but his hand cannon spread was tight enough to do surprising amounts of damage at longer ranges, especially against bigger targets. This change brings his weapon in line with other shotgun-style weapons by making its damage fall off beyond 15 meters. I did test this quickly before recording, and the first thing you might think about this change is that, well, his hand cannon spread was quite wide anyway, so the further out you would go, you would assume that it would be harder to hit, making it less lethal, of course, because even if you hit all 11 pellets, it deals 66 damage. But that's significant. That's almost as much as a McCree body shot, so actually his medium-ranged poke, although he doesn't have a lot of ammo to do it, could reliably do meaningful damage, especially when you compare to other heroes like D.Va, who do like 1 damage a second outside of their effective range. So Doomfist now I think feels much closer to D.Va in that way, where if you're too far, you just don't really do anything. Which is a sensible change, I guess, but definitely not any of the things that the pros or anybody else who finds Doomfist too obnoxious this meta is worried about, because honestly, once we've got into the control meta, I think it's his shields that they buffed recently that now just makes him into a death machine. So sure, definitely good that he doesn't also perform in any way at longer ranges. Doomfist is a funny character because I think depending on what tier of play you play at, you're going to have a vastly different opinion on how strong he is. At a lot of ranks, Doom just jumps into Sombra's hacking him and die over and over again. Which, by the way, if you're struggling with Doom, I suggest you immediately get a Sombra to just go in Viz and wait on him to jump in. Then he plays a lot differently. But at the highest levels of play, both teams are running Sombra, so that can get a little complicated. But moving on, the other things that you may have expected to come with Torb, the rework, and everything that was on that PTR patch has seemingly went through. Yes, that massive Torb rework that changed his entire kit is in the live game now. So especially anyone who didn't get to play it on the PTR, or if you're on console, go try it out. This new Torb is a blast to play. I'm not going to read all of these patch notes because they changed everything and we've covered it a few times already. His weapon is more reliable, reloads faster, and his primary fire focuses the fire of his turret. Note, it's not his shotgun fire, it's his single rivet longer range attack that you have to hit on an enemy for your turret to focus fire with you. I've noticed a lot of people confused about that. He throws his turret now, it builds itself, has a bit less health than it used to, but there's a min-max mechanic with it now, where if it gets destroyed in combat, it goes on a long 10-second cooldown, so you don't want it to get destroyed. You'd ideally want to cancel it if it was in harm's way, but you can't cancel it if it's either getting shot at or it's shooting. So you want to try to find those places on the map where you want to confidently leave it. And then, if the enemies lose sight of it and you want to reposition it, you have to destroy it and then redeploy when it's not in combat. And of course, his last two new abilities no longer has armor pack. Instead, his old Molten Core ultimate basically goes on a cooldown, and for 5 seconds he gets overloaded, increasing his attack, movement, and reload speed by 30%, along with instantly gaining 150 armor. And his ultimate we've all seen before, still called Molten Core because it sounds cool, but he splashes Splatoon lava all over the ground. Be sure when using this to not fire full auto, because there's not really a benefit to overlap on the same square tile of floor. You'd much rather get it to spread on as much surface area as you can. And remember, it bounces off shields, so don't shoot it directly at Brigitte. Instead, put it around her feet and try to get past barriers to either deny them walking towards you or force them to move, and also cover their escape paths as well. That's where this is going to look the strongest. Speaking of Brigitte, her barrier shield health has been reduced from 600 down to 500. Very small change, but I think 100 health is a big deal. That's an entire projectile from most ranged projectile heroes. So every 100 HP they take off, maybe another second or so shaved off the sustain that her front-facing shield has. Between that and the new Torbjorn, I think some of the annoyance surrounding countering Brigitte is shifting a bit. Not so much to change us from a control meta though, because the answers are also control meta heroes like Torb, who plays slow anyway. But keep in mind, new Torb is probably pretty good against Doomfist and Sombra, so so we probably have an entirely new meta on our hands in any case. McCree's combat roll cooldown has been reduced from 8 seconds down to 6 seconds. Honestly, they could make it 5, and I still think it wouldn't make much difference. McCree's an incredibly strong hero, just waiting to pounce out, so I think Blizzard have to handle McCree with care. Pharah got her big rework going to the live game. Shorter cooldown on Conch Blast. Her attack speed is significantly increased, but now the splash damage is all but non-existent. You have to hit directs. Big controversy about this. A lot of legendary Pharah players disagree between pros, streamers. Everybody thinks something a little bit different. My opinion is this change drastically improves her ability to bombard slow targets, so anything that's on the ground, including Torbjorn and his turret. Since Pharah has a jetpack, she can get angles on whatever she wants, so even from miles away, she can shoot rockets surprisingly fast now, so much so that you could shoot 2 rockets, and by the time the first one hits your target, the second one's already on its way. So Ana players, Soldier, McCree's, look out, because an accurate Pharah's ability to two-tap you is a lot scarier now. But the sort of slower aerial control combat that Pharah used to bombard from range over a long period of time, that is completely changed. Now she's much more of a burst impact character who's either going to get a pick off or kind of do nothing, rather than have a consistent threat of splash damage over the course of a match. But in many ways, I would say that that is kind of weak in this meta anyway, but only time will tell. This doesn't make Pharah meta by any means, but I do think it strengthens her down a path, which is what heroes need right now in the type of meta we're in. For example, does it matter if you do splash damage to Doomfist? He has tons of health anyway. You have to hit directs on him or you're not killing him. So I think in a matchup like against Doom, you can forego all the splash damage in the world because the fire rate is what matters to those burst kills. But as well, many Pharah players may find this to make her unplayable for their previous styles of play. So go easy on that. Try her out in quick play for a while before you stick with her in ranked, because you may be in for a rude awakening. Your playstyle may have just been utterly nerfed. Other changes: Orisa's fusion driver maximum spread has been reduced by 20%. This is a big deal, as she now can full auto targets from longer ranges. I'm afraid of Orisa buffs, man, because I think Orisa is really strong, and if they go too far with these little incremental buffs with her, she very easily could take over the game, in my opinion. Even if her pick rates aren't incredibly strong right now, I think she is a viable main tank in the rotation of ones that we have, so handle with care is what I would like to see. I think especially against targets like Doomfist and Sombra, this spread change increases her lethality to help add supportive damage to those characters. Doesn't matter against tanks, bar maybe getting more damage into the head crit zones than before. More so I think against meteor targets like Reaper, Doomfist, McCree, Soldier at medium ranges where she may have been missing more shots in the previous build of the game. As well, Soldier 76's heavy pulse rifle has been buffed. Maximum spread now requires 9 shots, and it used to start at 6. So back in the day, you could burst 5 shots full auto with perfect accuracy. Now you can get 8 until it starts to spread. But even then, if your tracking is perfect, let's say if your name is Defran, now you can put 8 shots directly towards the head and then have it start to spread out and go for center of mass fire after that. These DPS buffs, man, they just keep coming and coming. I thought Soldier was incredibly weak in the past patch or two. So much so that I'd rather have a builder than Soldier most of the time, just about any map. And I like playing Soldier. He's one of my best damage characters, mostly because he's a bit easier. And oddly enough, I still don't even know if this changes how strong he is. Just due to all the crazy utility that other characters have, he gets farmed by Doomfist. He doesn't do cool things like hack as Sombra or any of the nifty tricks that Torbjorn can do. But just like McCree, Soldier's a character that Blizzard have to look out for, because if we ever switch out of a control meta, where cooldowns and big bursts of abilities and ultimates are king, Soldier could be lying in wait with an incredibly accurate rifle to click all of our heads. Last thing on the patch notes, there was a lot of other bugs besides these, but I know these are ones that I see most often the community worry about. Notably, if you've got that Reinhardt bug where he does his shatter multiple times while getting booped in the sky, incredibly frustrating. It looks like you're hitting the shatter, but instead Reinhardt just kind of flails and keeps swinging on his his way down. Well, that bug apparently has been fixed. Fixed the bug that caused Reinhardt's rocket hammer to knock enemies back further than intended, and also some bug fixes to Sombra's translocator. Guys, that's everything for today's patch notes update. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave it a like. It really does help us out. Let us know that you're enjoying the content. And if you haven't already, please subscribe because we do upload each and every day. So you're going to want to hit the bell icon so that you get notified when our videos go live. Link to the description is our Twitter. We tweet out news, updates, and dank memes. That's been it for me. I've been FREEDO for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.